Welcome to the Nikki Rich Show. I'm your host, Miss Nikki Rich, and today we have another exciting show for you guys. We have industry home mortgage on Genesis Gomez and Will Price. So welcome. How are y'all doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. I'm so honored and excited to have you on. I mean, we
You say
don't
that
get
to
too
all
much.
the guys. You say you honor to be everybody. Come on now.
I am. And I'm excited because we like to educate people,
Yeah.
and our audience here on the Nikki Rich Show. And we are talking about lending. We're talking mortgage. I'm so pumped up about this, and I got some great questions for you. And I know that our audience will have questions as well. But before we jump right in, I want to tell everybody that they can follow us at Nikki Rich Show TV on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And you can subscribe to Nikki Rich, the number 2 on YouTube. And we are live on YouTube right now and Facebook. But once again, welcome. We are here with Industry Home Mortgage. Now, tell us, how did you get involved? And, how did you create this amazing company?
Oh, you want the long version or the short version?
We'll take it all.
You know what? This all came just out of pure passion, right?
Mhm.
I caught myself waking up every day, putting on clothes that I did not want to put on, driving this commute to go work from somebody's office and just kind of play pretend, right? And you look up and you lose so much of your time, like working for these companies, these big corporations. And it seemed like there's nothing you can do to ever get ahead.
Yes.
I had a 6-figure job, right? Working for a bank. And it hit me where I was kind of realizing, this can't be how I go out. Like, this can't be how I'm buried in the ground, and where I'm having a retirement party in the lunchroom at a bank, and I'm wearing the candles and blunt. Like, that just was not the way I wanted my life to go at all. And I knew it was worth so much more. So I went home, I talked to my wife, and she was like, well, time for you to make a change, right? And the one thing I was always good at was lending. That's what I did. I was the number one lending branch manager, the number one lending area manager, just all the time. So I decided to cut out all the rest of the crap and just focus on lending. So I went and got my license. I left to go work for an actual mortgage lending company. And lo and behold, I ran into the same issues I was running into at the bank. Even though I was making way more money than when I was getting paid at the bank, same issues, the same politics, the same stuff that I just don't do well with. I don't play politics well. I just like to produce the numbers and go on about my business. And so here I catch myself 2 years later, coming to my wife with my tail tucked saying, hey, I'm thinking about making another change. And she kind of looked at me, and I'll never forget the look that was like on her face. It like kind of struck me like right here. And she said, genuinely, when are you going to take the training wheels off? And I like kind of got offended. I'm like, what are you talking about, training wheels? And she wrote it down. She's like, look, these guys that own these companies, that are starting these mortgage companies, they aren't smarter than you, right? They took a chance. And you do it better than anybody. You're more passionate about this than anybody I've ever met about anything. And she was like, so when are you going to take your training wheels off? And she got in my face. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm going to show you. And it like fired me up. And so Industry Home Mortgage started. Like, I was laying in bed. I was just all night, couldn't sleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was like, hey, industry mortgage. And she was like, and she woke up like, what are you talking about? Get away from, like, what? I'm like, industry home mortgage. And that's when, so it began, right? And it started off with just me, right? It was just going to be me doing loans from home. That's it, right? And then one person reached out to me, and they said, hey, I'm having the same issues. I'm feeling the same way. Can I come hang my license with you and just do what you're doing? I'm like, okay, awesome. Then one person reached out to him, and they said, okay. And this snowball effect kind of started. And I mean, this company, we're still new. We just started in July 2018 is technically when I opened it with the Secretary of State, right? And already, kind of, starting in a full year from January 2019 through now, we've got 10 people, and we're moving into California, moving into your backyard, and so yeah. So that's kind of a little bit of the history on Industry Home Mortgage and the story of how it started.
Yes, and just it's amazing you two are together. It's great. It's two are better than one.
Yeah.
And just a big. I know you have a team of people. I mean, how did that come about with everybody coming together? How did everybody come together? A part of Industry Home Mortgage.
This turned into something bigger than what I thought it would be. It turned into a platform for people who were feeling just like I was feeling at that moment when my wife told me to take my training wheels off, Stephanie, if you're watching right now. But that's the group of people we have, like the people who've been underserved and overlooked and underappreciated. And everyone just gravitated, right? Like, when people reached out to me, and then somebody reached out to somebody else, and somebody reached out to somebody else, and it kind of became this small buzz because people knew who I was when I left the company I was with, and they said, "Well, hey, we know Will. He's this guy who does this thing all the time. He was always kind of like this guy who you could count on to get numbers. So if he's doing his thing, let's see how he's doing." And when they start to see it, they kind of it's just this gravitational pull kind of happened. And, people got introduced and we met. And next thing you know, our team is full of people who were just tired of the same, like the freaking politics, and just wanted to just do their thing. And we're lucky. I'm lucky to have a team like this. So
that's pretty amazing. Now get into, mortgage. Because a lot of us, out there, we're not really educated, on actually what you do, and all the services that you provide. So I got a few questions, and to anybody out there, feel free in the comments to also type your questions right now. My first question is, how does a mortgage work? How does it work?
So the way that it will happen, so let's say you are thinking about it, you want to go buy your home and you're like, oh, who do I reach out to? That's when you reach out to us. A lot of people end up reaching out to the realtor first when really they should be reaching out to the loan originator first. The reason why is because we're going to educate you from start to finish, and we're going to tell you exactly what you qualify for. Let's just say there's a person out there that maybe you're like, oh, but I'm not going to qualify for anything, so I don't even want to talk to that person. You're exactly the person that we want to talk to. The reason why is because we want you to feel empowered. We want you to feel educated. We want you to have a solid financial future for yourself and for your family. And so the way that it would work is you would come to us, we would put in the application. We're going to ask you a lot of questions, some of which feel a little invasive. We're also going to ask you for a lot of paperwork. I've been told time and time again, oh, do you want my blood type too? No, we don't want your blood type, but we do want all of the financial questions answered so that way we can get an entire picture. And we want you to be as honest with us as possible, even if you're just like, ooh, I'm a little ashamed of this. Tell us. We have compassion. We want to know. And so that way we can work through it, right? So once we get you to that point where you're ready to buy a home, the way that it ends up working is we give you a pre-approval letter, or we give you a payment in which you qualify for a month, and we give you a calculator that can back into that, because there's many different factors that go into it. There's something that's called an HOA, or a homeowners association. It depends on the taxes in your state, right? And all of that goes into what you qualify for, or what's called your debt to income ratio. So with that said, once we back into that, you go out, you start looking for a home, you find the perfect home for you. You and your realtor talk about it, and you put in a contract or an offer. I call that listing agent. Then I talk you up and say, oh yeah, we got all of their paperwork. All is good. We pulled their credit. Everything looks great. Then from there, you have 3 days to get in what's called earnest money. Your earnest money is just letting those people know, the sellers know that you are willing to do everything in the contract. You're willing to get to the closing table, and you're not gonna do any funny business, right? So you put that in, and then it's fast and furious right after that, right? So then you get your inspection done because you want to make sure that home is structurally sound. Then you get your appraisal. You want to make sure that you have you're buying a home that's value is going to hold up. Okay. And then while all of that is going on, that's where we are working behind the scenes. We're getting documents from the county, from the state, from your employer. We're asking you more questions and from possible more documentation. And it's about a 30-day process. Depending on the loan program, it could take a little bit longer, or we've gotten it done as low as
10 days.
10 days. 10 days from
wow.
To get, so that's pretty crazy. And that's for, you're on top of it. You're getting us your paperwork right away, and then we send it on. So it's pretty exciting. But in that time, we're educating you on your situation because everyone's situation is completely different. So when you're listening to different things or you're Googling and you're like, well, this Google says, it might be for this group of people. It's different. So we just want to really customize it for you and get you the best products and the best rate possible. So being at a brokerage, we have the pleasure and the blessing of choosing, from 15, 20 different lenders, right? We want to make sure you're getting the best rate, down payment assistance if you need that. It is out there, and we can possibly even combine 2 down payment assistance so you can bring as little money to the table as possible. But it all depends on your situation, and we're so happy to help.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, I love it. Now, I know some people out there might not know what's the difference between pre-qualified and being qualified.
So a pre-qualification is really just like it's the initial upfront numbers. It's that initial phone call that Genesis was talking about. So you're thinking about buying a house, or you want to know if you can even buy a house, right? So with the pre-qualification, what we do is we get the permission, we pull credit, we ask you for your pay stub, all your income information. So if it's pay stubs, W-2s, or tax returns, you send that information in, and based on credit, based on those income documents, we say, hey, based on these numbers we've got, you can be pre-qualified potentially up to a certain dollar amount to buy a home. So we'll call it $250,000, $300,000. That's a pre-qualification. When you're actually qualified for a mortgage, it's that same process, but it goes a little bit deeper. So there is the next step is what's called underwriting, right? When you send it to when you send it to a lender, they have this team of underwriters. It's almost like the gatekeepers to say, hey, if we can give you this money, we're the gatekeepers. So we want to make sure we're going to dig through your credit. We're going to dig through your income. We're going to look at all of this information, and we're going to see if you truly are worthy of this money you want, right? So when they do that, give it a day or two, they'll come back and say, hey, this person is truly worthy. They're qualified. So it's just that extra layer between qualified and pre-qualified to where it goes through that underwriting process, to where they actually look at where that third-party gatekeeper, they kind of look through the income and look through the credit, and then you are truly qualified. Because I think there is a lot of confusion with pre-qualified and qualified.
It is.
And it's a big difference. It's a big difference.
But there's some people that can go through the pre-qualified process and be just fine. But there's those people out there that it's just something isn't quite right. So that's when we send it in before they even go under contract. And that's when we can say with absolute certainty, all we need is an appraisal and you're done. Yeah.
It's just, someone's situation is a little more moving pieces that we've got to pull and bring the puzzle together a little tighter. That's all it is. So yeah, some people can go to pre-qual. Some people may have a more complicated situation. So
now also, for those, I know we spoke on loans too. So what are some of the type of loans that are out there?
Oh man, you're opening a can of worms right now, Nikki. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this as refined as possible. Okay. You've got the standard loans, right? I mean, you got what's called a conventional loan. Those are the loans where most people have this idea back from early 1900s where, oh, you want to go conventional, you need 20% down, right? That is not the case with conventional loans anymore. You can have as little as 3% down if you meet certain criteria. Yeah. So conventional. And then you have FHA loans. FHA is a government funded loan, right? That's a loan that is catering to people with maybe who don't have the 700 credit score, people who don't have, 20% down in the bank. Maybe they've got a little more debt than a conventional loan will allow. The FHA loan is way more lenient when it comes down to, higher debt ratios. When I say debt ratios, by the way, and this is just me being like, I like to educate. I hate to put out terms out there that people are like, well, what's the debt ratio? All that is the amount of monthly payments you're making on credit, like your credit cards, student loans, divided by your actual take home, your income before they take out the taxes, right? So that's what a debt rate. They don't want that number to exceed 55%. So the amount of monthly payments with your housing payment can't be 55% of your actual gross income with FHA loans. And then you have VA loans, which are veteran loans. For if you've been in the military and you've served in the military, or they have certain benefits that they can utilize up to that can give them 100% financing if they wanted to. And I mean, it's just that's a really great program. And those are that's the base. You got conventional, FHA, VA. And then from that point, I mean, you can go so many different ways, like first-time home buyer grants and first-time home buyer programs tied in with conventional and FHA loans.
And USDA has a loan. People don't know about that.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that also gives 100% to where, let's say the home is 450,000, then that's what the loan is, 450,000. So it kind of works like VA in that particular regard. There's so many nuances that go into any of these that we just have to find the right product that works for you.
Yeah, but there's something for everybody. Being a broker and being able to kind of reach out to 20 different lenders and see who's got what. We've got something for everybody. We've got programs we can reach out to for people who have a 500 credit score. We got things we can reach out to the self-employed borrower who just started their business a year ago and trying to buy a home. We've got programs for them too. So it's, like I said, it's a rabbit hole you can go down, and we could talk about this stuff all night.
Yes.
One thing I do want to put out, I'm so sorry, but one thing I do want to put out there for the self-employed borrower is we do have what's called a bank statement program, because there's some employed borrowers out there that have something going on with their tax returns. They don't really want us to see it. Well, we can do a bank statement program for you. We're really big on wanting to help first-time home buyers, veterans, and self-employed people. Well, obviously, we know what it's like to be self-employed.
Right.
So.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that going in. That's a good segue to, can you give us some of the services that you guys provide for those out there?
So you said some of the services that we provide for
do you offer consultations and
all day, every day.
I'm like, that's like our life. We're gonna consult with people all day long. So
and it's free. So if anybody says, "Oh, we have to charge you for this," no, it's free.
Run the other direction if somebody tries to charge you to talk to them. We're not attorneys or anything. So it just comes with the territory. Nikki, like people want to know, people just want to know, because there's so much information on the internet, or their brother had this experience, or their best friend did the thing, and it's like everybody's a professional except the professional, right? Because so we spend time with people. That's kind of one of the things that separates us. We really want to educate our borrower to where by the time we're done with that whole loan process, they can kind of do what we do. So our consulting our buyers, consulting our people who want to refinance is a big thing we do, and that's a service we offer. When it comes down to credit, we're not credit experts. We're not licensed to do credit, but we can look at a credit report and we have some tools available to where we can actually say, all right, your credit score has some room to grow here. Let's click this button on my computer and it'll tell me exactly to the dollar amount what you need to pay down or what you need to pay off or what you need to get rid of in order to get your credit score up to where you can be pre-qualified or qualified for a loan, right? So, and that's what we do. And a lot of times the service we offer that we don't even plan to offer is sometimes we're therapists. Sometimes people want to just call us and talk about problems that they're having with their relationships, and we just listen. We just gotta listen.
So. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, just to put it out there, I think the misconception can be, well, just give me my loan. Well, whatever. It is a long, drawn out process, and it can be incredibly frustrating. And so I always tell all my clients, I'm like, call me. If you have to yell at me because you're so frustrated because I asked you for another pay stub, just tell me. It's okay. I will listen, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to get you there. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to love on you. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to make sure that you are getting into that home because you deserve to own your home.
Right.
Now, what would you tell those people out there? Because I know you mentioned some people have 500 credit score. What encouraging words would you say, because some people might be afraid to even reach out to you guys, because they might not think they can get anything, so what encouraging words do you give them?
You go first and I'm gonna go.
Okay. Look, it's a scary situation. You're calling up most of the time some guy in a suit or some gal in a suit, and you gotta disclose all your personal financial information, stuff that you're embarrassed about, right? And we understand that. So when you go into this, go into it with your learning hat on, right? Mm-hmm. Go into it understanding that you don't know everything and that there are some things you need to be open to. But the advice I would give is just to take a shot. Like you have to take that first step. Like that's the only way you're ever going to know if you can truly qualify for a house or buy a house, is just by taking that first step and kind of saying, all right, I'm going to be vulnerable right now and I'm going to call and just see what happens. And I can't lose with this, because if they tell me I don't qualify, they're going to hopefully they give me a plan to where I can qualify in 6 months or a year. Right. So it's just all about taking that first step. You can't assume, you can't talk to your next door neighbor. You can't Google, do I qualify for a home? And so you just have to take that step and talk to somebody. So that's the best advice that I can give anyone when it comes down to seeing if they can qualify for a home. You just have to take that first step, let yourself be vulnerable, and ask the professionals. Don't Google it. Don't talk to your neighbor. Yeah. Call us. And just ask.
I would say piggybacking off of that. I tell people, you're already at no. What is it going to hurt if I look at it? Right. You're already at no. Just let me take a look. Because you might be at a yes. I know there was somebody last year, and she came to me and she said, I'm 2 years out. I know I'm 2 years out. There's no way that I can buy a home, this and that. So I said, okay, it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll work together for 2 years. We'll talk every month. It's no big deal, right? And then she came to my office and sat down, and she looked real scared. And I said, it's okay. We're going to get through this together. We are a team now, right? I put in all her numbers, and I stopped and I looked at her and I said, you can go out yesterday. Like, what do you mean that you're 2 years out? I said, who gave you that? And she goes, that's just what I thought in my mind. That's what I thought. And I said, no, you're good. I'm going to set you up with 3 different realtors that I know. Interview them. You let me know who you want to work with, and we're going to get you out. And she's in that home a year now, maybe a little bit more.
Wow.
And she loves it, and her kids love it. And
you don't know what you don't know. So take that first step. She would have never known if she hadn't taken that first step, and go from there. So
Now, to anybody out there that want to connect with Industry Home Mortgage, where can they go to? If they want to learn more about you and how they can also possibly, get involved.
You can meet the entire team. www.industryhmc.com. So HMC like homemortgagecompany.com. You can go to meet your broker page. You can see everybody on the team. It's got some pretty generic, basic information about the loan programs because we want you to call us for that, right? Contact information, emails, phone numbers, everything you need. So you can look through that list and say, hey, I like the way Peter looks, or hey, I like let me call Genesis, let me call Jan, like let me call Pam. So it's just that is where you can find us. It's one of those things where Genesis is about to do some stuff with social media and get that stuff up and rolling, so you can be sure to find us there as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we also have our on our Meet the Broker page, it has everyone's belief statement. So not only do you have a picture, you can see who you're working with, it has their belief statement. And the reason why I believe that's really empowering for not only our brokers, but our clients or our partners to go see that, because they can say, oh, this 1 to 2 sentence, I feel that. I can connect with this person, and then that's when they know who to call, right? And so I think that that's super empowering. On our social media pages, what we want to do is we want to get some like content creation out there, some teaching material, right? Like, okay, you're first time home buyers. Here's some tips and tricks that you need to know, maybe before you even contact your realtor, before you even contact your mortgage broker. Because there are some things that we definitely want you to call us on, because we want to specify it to your situation. But for those ones that are scared, need a little help, let's get you some tips and tricks out there. And that's where you'll find it on our social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're not on Twitter yet, but that's in the works. And we're on Instagram. So you'll start seeing more content come out to you here soon.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the Nikki Rich Show. I feel so educated right now because y'all answer all my questions that I didn't know, and I hope I help somebody as well that's out there. I hope we help them, as well, because, I didn't know a lot about mortgage, but I'm excited today. I learned a lot, and I'm just so pumped up to have Industry Home Mortgage on today. Make sure you connect. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Genesis Gomez. Thank you so much.
Nikki, we gotta get out. We gotta get our name out. We gotta get our logo out, especially once California's all ready to go.
Yes.
We gotta get our shirt on Oprah. We gotta get our shirt on LeBron. Like, it's one of those things that you think of someone who owns a mortgage company. You don't picture me, right? Like you don't picture me. You picture a guy in a suit sitting behind a desk, that looks nothing like me, right? And mortgages have just been this bland, just this thing that nobody ever thinks of as something that can have a little bit of appeal, a little bit of swag, a little bit of, and that's kind of like it's 2020 now. It's 2020, and things have still been done the same way as they were done in 1920, right? So now you've got this different face. We bring a different face to the mortgage industry because it's not what you expect to see. Like, oh, you own a mortgage?
And not only that, you're young.
It
was older people back in the day. It was
older people.
And ain't nothing wrong with that, but it was just a different, like you said, face.
It's just a different thing, and you don't expect it. And it's just time to kind of tear those walls down. It's time to tear those barriers down. And it's one of those things where I say that's why we are a pure broker, right? And when I say a pure broker, I mean, like, look, that's how we have access to all of these different lenders to make sure our clients get the best possible deal. And you see guys that look like me, and you may see me on the street and think I was an athlete, or think I was like some entertainer. You see Genesis and like, oh yeah, she, even though she is an entertainer, with her modeling career and everything, and we get behind that. You're going to see our logos at her modeling events and the whole deal. But it's just one of those things where you start making more aware, because this industry is lucrative. There's a lot of money to be made, and for those young kids that's coming up thinking in order to make it somewhere they need to be a athlete or a a singer or a dancer or entertain people. There are other ways to do it than doing it that, you know, there are other avenues. So
Yes.
that's one of the, it's not just about the borrowers. It starts with our people here first. It starts with the team first, because like I said, everyone on this team is someone who was just tired of it. They were tired of all the BS. They were tired of being overlooked and served. And so because we have that with this team, we're able to provide a better experience for our clients. And we're able to show the world that, yes, go to our meet the broker page and see this. And you'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, so it's just, I never saw in a million years, I never saw industry home mortgage being able to be a platform for something bigger than just mortgages, bigger than just, but it's kind of just setting an example and saying, no, look, like, you don't have to look like the people you usually see that, you know, are running, you know, they're running mortgage companies to actually go out and do something in financial services industry and start a company in the financial service industry. So
yeah, you can do it.
Sorry,
you can do it. And you know, but combined, we have over 20 years experience. I mean, he and I bounce stuff off of each other all the time. Like, hey, you know, you think this is going to work? He says the same thing, whatever. So, I mean, we're educated and we're ready to help.
Yep. So, sorry, Nikki, didn't mean to take more time.
Oh, no, it's okay. Well, I like I said, I'm so pumped up, you know, to have you guys on today. Thank you so much for being our guest. And it doesn't stop here. You know, we're going to begin together. You know, we got more to help the people with as well. So you're going to be coming back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And, you know, hopefully we'll be open too. So
Thanks, Nikki. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.